would be in order for us to admit this document.
It was a scenario that cast aspersions to the religious sector, leading to months-long probe into the conduct of the so-called men of God and how they lure their flock into doing their bidding that cost them their lives.
To ask these questions is General Paul Mackenzie was a taxi driver. And then he's holding a pulpit. He stands there, he commands people, they follow him. So there's a basis, there's a place we are coming from when we say, shouldn't we have some basic training?
The Senate ad hoc committee investigating the murder of hundreds of people in the deadly Shakahola massacres orchestrated by preacher Paul Mackenzie. Today, the ad hoc committee took views from religious leaders and the public in general, welcoming Bishop Margaret Wanjiru of Jesus is Alive Ministries and self-proclaimed Prophet David Owuor of the Repentance and Holiness Ministry to submit.
And the doctrine, it boils down to the doctrine and the practice of church and the need for churches and denominations to be accountable and to follow the sound doctrine and sound practices.
Is it okay for one man of God to dictate all doctrines, all curriculum, without question, and in perspective of the current situation in the country? Will it be fair for one man to do all this?
And I think this is now when we talk about regulating the churches, because if we allow this kind of power to be exercised by bishops, I can tell you it will be chaotic, and I think that is exactly what Mackenzie was also doing in Mombasa.
The pastors were put to task to explain to the Senate on how the conduct of the church should be and how to mitigate extremists. Led by Bishop Margaret Wanjiru and David Owuor, among other religious leaders, have castigated the killings of the Shakahola cult, accusing their government through respective security agencies and the judiciary of failing to be vigilant amidst the murders.
What is obvious is that it happened over a long period of time. It is not something that happened within a year or a couple of months. This is something that was ongoing for a very, very long period.
But coming back to the question, as an advocate, I would not appreciate a scenario where a person wants to come up with a church and he just goes and duplicate another constitution. Does he have a calling? Does he even believe in what is in that constitution? That is why we have as many churches. I was even shocked the other day that still, even as late as last week, bodies are still being removed from the grave. This is unbelievable. And we have, the place has been declared a security zone. I want to believe that our contribution here and presentation here will go a long way in adding value to the outcome of this committee.
Stanley Lugaria, Look Up TV.
A story by Stanley Lugaria brings us to the end of this